Otherwise
vipi mzee?
Yes.
Uko poa?
Niko salama bana.
Mimi niko sawa. Na ngoja tu tuweze kuchapa story yani, unajua.
Kwa sababu imefika ile muda. Ya kwa nini?
Kuchapa story.
Correct. Sasa mimi niko na story iko in form of a question.
Okay.
Unajua wewe ndo kwa hii nini wewe ndo mzae. Lazima uulize mzae waswali. Hapa na pale.
Leo story ya mzae imekuwa in a positive light.
Leo umechukua vizuri.
Leo nimechukua vizuri.
Nimeitoa vizuri. Nimechukua vizuri. Hizo siku zingine inagonga noma.
Unajuanga unasema nini? Unamaanisha nini? Nakutambua.
Sasa niko hapa hivi na kaswali. Niki grow up na vile nimekuwa nikirelate na my parents na wase wengine wenye they're older than I am, who I can still consider as parents. Unajua wamekuwa ukifanya kitu anakuambia don't do that, because nimesema. Ukiuliza kwa nini unaambiwa Biblia pia to back up. Unajua wezi we have a backup.
Unafanya
kuna vitu unafanya pale unaambia hiyo ni mbaya, nimesema usifanye hiyo, si ndio? Na kwa Biblia pia wananiambia ukisoma the book of Ephesians 6:2-3 wengi wanajua hiyo verse.
Wanasema
inajulikana
kwanza wakiwa wazazi
hiyo na Jesus wept. Kama tungekuwa Christians kwa sababu ya kujua verse
Jesus wept zinapeleka hapa, zina compete ratings. Memory work.
So sasa hapa inasema hivi, Ephesians 6:2-3 honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, that it may be well with you and that you may live long on earth. Nini ni fiti? Because hata mkienda Sunday school naambiwa you sing that honor your father and mother. Ni fiti. You know, but at some point when I was growing up nilikuwa najiuliza so ni baraka gani yenye mapero anapata? Kuna kitu mapero anaweza tufanyia sisi ejao pia hata
barikiwa. Au tunazambia sababu Bible inatu back up.
Hata sisi pia tuko na back up. Unajua, and it's not that I want to show that we are equal. We are not. We are not. Hakuna kitu kama ati I'm equal with my parents.
That's true.
They are my parents. They have been there longer than I have been there. You know, so from experience and a lot of things, there's a lot that they know that I don't.
That's true. That's true.
And so they have that parental guidance that they should give. But kuna moments zenye na feeling nikaa kuna wazazi wanachukua hiyo kitu overboard. Unajua?
Kweli.
Wewe unaonaje juu hiyo story?
Ni kweli bethe. I think many times kwa family setting in a relationship ya parent and child, most commonly the authority ambayo ita come into play concerning that relationship ni honor your father and mother. Na of course it says it's the first command with a promise. Na you know basically there's a reward for it. But most people just say, they don't even say it's the first command. They say honor your father and mother. Leave it at that. So when they say this, wakikuita wakisema ngwe unafanya nini, unaitika, you know. But there's actually, and today I'll pick two scriptures which now would be speaking to fathers. They speak about fathers, but my understanding is that it covers both parents. Because there are two parents. And one of them is Ephesians 6:4. And it says, fathers, do not exasperate your children. Instead, bring them up in the training and instruction of the Lord. That's the first one.
You exasperate
inamaanisha irritate.
Okay.
Frustrate.
Okay.
You know, ni kama una kindle anger ama you're causing the child to be exceedingly upset. Akasikirike, asikie uchungu, unajua ashikilie uchungu wa grudge, unajua. And you see, this is a verse specifically to parents. And especially I know fathers also, we will, if we look at how society and what we learn from society, many of the stories we hear from our friends is that unajua kuna wale watasema mzae alikuwa dictator hatari moto
kusema.
I've found few others who wanasema made noma lakini they are the few ones so there's a trend maybe people who are watching might have varying narrations depending on your circles but you might find that fathers have a lot probably to pull up when it comes to some of this like exasperating your children or being the dictator or being ni mimi nimesema tutafuata vile nimesema kwa sababu mimi ndio mzee I'm the head of this family I have said and you know there's what I gather from this and I'll read the second one shortly which is almost the same and it says fathers do not exasperate your children instead bring them up in the training and instruction of the Lord. You see that part, it's a comparison. Do not exasperate, instead bring them up in the training and instruction of the Lord. So you're being told instead of exasperating, instead of frustrating children, instead of and this could be in many ways and some of the examples that come to mind from my interaction and from even observation and even from hearing stories of people who are willing to share about their experiences is that there's a tendency to give unreasonable instructions you can have unreasonable expectations you can have commands that are for the child are nearly impossible to do tasks that are too difficult unajua mtoto anashangaa how do you expect me to do all that work in a day how do you expect me to remember all that why are you punishing me for something I don't know unajua did you teach me how to do what you're beating me up for unajua and at times it could even be as easy as reacting in anger mtoto amefanya kitu and you just choose to react slap hit spank the child out of anger you use force you use your face can show you are boiling up in rage or anger umekasirika and these things they have the tendency to reflect actually on the child if for instance I'll give a good example if I get angry and I fight with somebody who most likely the way I'll fight, the kind of intensity I'll bring into the fight, the other person will pick it up and will fight me back with the same intensity. The natural tendency is that mtoto ukimpiga na hasira anapata hasira. So the more you do that, the more you brew anger in the child. You're brewing anger. So every time unampiga, umekasirika anajua, kwanza kukasirika namna hiyo si makosa. If my dad is doing it, if my mom is doing it, it's something good. They pick it up subconsciously. They will eventually do it to their children. Umeona? Alafu, the other thing is that also if you give unreasonable instructions, you're frustrating them. They lose hope. They despair. I cannot succeed. Siwezi, there's nothing I'll get right. I am hopeless. I am a failure. Because always Nimaze, you cannot tolerate any failure. You blast off into the reaction which is excessive or it's unnecessary for the offense and such things. And now because I want to go to this point here, bring them up in the training instruction of the Lord, is it reasonable? And I'll ask fathers who are out there or young men who are mko kwa marriage, maybe mna expect watu ya in future you want to get children. Or if you look back at your experience as a child with your parents and this is basically to improve the future. So this is not to go back and point fingers at your parents or something. But if you were punished as a child for something you did not know about, so it's an instruction you never received. It's a training you never you are never taken through. First, training does not happen overnight. So it's a process. Instruction has to be expressed. So are you beating up a child as a father or as a mother out there for something you did not instruct them on? Najua. Again, are you beating up children out there or even rebuking them or even shouting at them or correcting them or telling them, no, this is not acceptable, yet you have not trained them on what they need to do or not to do? And training means you as a parent need to be the example
Well,
for them to know how to do or not do what they
that's
need
a
to do.
big role, man.
You get?
That's a big role. That just shows a lot about getting a child. You know, because if this child
Yeah.
if this child is getting blessed by living long because they are respecting you and all that,
Yeah.
then it means that whatever role that this parent is playing is even bigger. Because that's a verse that comes just after when you talk about children.
Honor your father.
Then now they say, and to you fathers,
do not exasperate.
Yes.
Yeah.
So and if you when you bring it like that, it just shows how intense this thing is. Because sometimes you'd consider, we have a child, and that's but there's a lot that you need to do when this child is growing up. There's a lot that you need to train them on. There's a lot that you need to you know. And there are a lot of people out here who might be taking that for granted.
True.
There are people who unasikia hii msemo ya methali inasema asiyefunzwa na mamaye hufunzwa na ulimwengu. Yes, and I know to some extent ni ile ya mtoi manze aki asipoambiwa hii ni wrong nini huko mwisho akifika dunia inamchapa mbaya. But the thing is, there are people who are being raised by the world, actually.
Yeah.
And yet they have parents.
That's true.
You know.
Yeah. It's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad. And actually, now that you said that this verse shows us that there's something the parent needs to be doing. There's instruction you need to be giving before you hold the child accountable.
Yes.
And again, there's training that you need to show. It means you need to conduct yourself. If you want your children to pray, you cannot have run a home where you're not praying. And I get, if you don't read the Bible, what you're teaching your children to do is not to read the Bible. If you do not respect as a father, you do not respect your wife. What you're teaching your son is not to respect their wives or to respect
the
women.
Other gender.
If it's mothers, if you do not respect your husband, you're teaching your daughters not to respect their future husband or their men generally. Or men generally. Whatever you're showing your children, if it's how to talk, if it's abusive language, if it's a wrong character, if it's any conduct that you do not wish them to have, how can you hold them accountable if they show it? How can you beat up the child for what you're doing?
Oh my God.
If you're doing it or you have not shown them how to do it, in fact, hold your anger. Hold your anger and relax. Ask yourself, if you've seen something, a failure, a mistake, an error, anything that has disappointed you, don't respond immediately. Ask yourself critical questions. Have you instructed them? Have you trained them? And if not, you need to respond first of all in that manner. Instruction, training. When you've instructed them and trained them, you can raise the expectation and tell them this is now punishable. When it comes to punishment, you cannot punish them with anger. Otherwise, you also brew other seeds of punishment where they will know this is acceptable. This is in order. And as Kevin, you've said, rightly put, kuna kitu ya wazazi kufanya. Which of the two, between honoring your father and mother and training, bringing up your children in instruction and training of the Lord, which one comes first?
Oh my God. Umeleta mambo hapo.
Which one comes first?
Okay.
Will your children honor their fathers and mother without you training them and instructing them on how to do it? How is it possible to do it? How is it possible? And actually, the second verse, which is also the same thing that also parents need to know there, and future parents especially, because we need to change future generations. Fathers, provoke not your children to anger, lest they be discouraged. Colossians 3 verse 21.
So, vile umefika hapo pale umefika hapo, I have a question. Kumekuwa na history ya boy child, girl child of course, but boy child, maboy haonyeshi emotions, kangumu, maboy. Because I have friends who have been raised by their mothers only, and I see how they react to some things. I see how intentional they are to some things, and that hata mimi mwenyewe sikwangi nayo. You know, I'm not saying that my dad was a harsh person. My dad anakuanga mse, ni mse mwenye mtaongea naye. But of course, growing up tulikuwa na hizo kugongana hapa na pale. But even for my friends would come to our place and be like, huyu ndo mbuyu wako, because anaingia and then they expect someone else to come, you know, so ndo bro mbigi, alafu where is your dad? You know, because it's not something that people are used to. Atipero anaweza kuja tu na apige story randomly, you get. Yes. And so I've seen people who have grown up, they've been raised by their mom alone, and then their emotional side intensify. They are very aware of the things that are happening. Hata mimi wanani challenge, even me at my level. So my question is, do you think that some of the reasons why Jamas are the way they are right now is because of these things?
Well, good question, and actually good perspective, Apo, because there's a likelihood, yes, with the kind of maybe fathers, of the fathers of our generation, the previous generation.
Yes.
And of course, there are a lot of factors that influence the way families related with one another, the kind of times they were raised as well, the kind of information that they were exposed to, and many other things. So this is basically a lesson from that. And I think many of fathers not being able, it's very common that they're not being able to express themselves about how they feel, not being able to express their failures. Kila mtu ana grow up, majamaa, we grew up knowing our fathers as uni simba maze. This guy does not cry. This guy never goes wrong. He doesn't make mistakes. He's not vulnerable. We know our dads to be Van Damme bana. Si najua budani Rambo
mwenye.
Waswa kitokea Bruce Lee. Waswa yani noma ikitokea. Haijalishi mko wangapi. Mzai yuko.
Ataweka chini.
It's a good thing.
Yes.
That's a positive thing. But the reality of life is that we are all vulnerable as human beings. And there are more lessons to teach children how to weigh situations in life, how to bounce back from failure, how to feel, what do you do when you feel sad? What do you do when you feel dejected? How do you bounce back when you're rejected? Unajua, because rejection is so rampant in life. If you have to interact with people, you'll face it.
You'll have to face
rejection. How do you deal with how do you bounce back from life's struggles and those things, and share and say at times I'm afraid? What you're doing is that you're equipping your child with a wider spectrum of circumstances, and you're preparing them to handle life better. They will be able to handle downfalls, pitfalls, failures. They will be able to bounce back. They will be able to say, I was wrong, but I know I can do better. Unajua, I was wrong again, but I'll keep standing up. Unajua, it won't hold me down. When I get and such things. And I know, women being more emotionally intelligent and being able to share from emotional point of view more than men could have been able to sort of share so much about and prepare maybe some ladies in terms of expectations, or those guys who are very close to their mothers probably were able to pick from some of those petits and bits on their personality, and they're able to have a balanced life where they're able to say, I can be emotional a bit, but I need also be tough as a man. There's a place for each of those two roles.
So what I'm getting is not to put someone in a pressure of having making sure that both the mother and the father should be there. But I think what I'm getting is the motherly and fatherly love should be there.
Yes.
So all aspects. Hapa kuna Simba. Now is Simba ni the showing that you can take charge, you can take control of situations and and at the same time kuna manze this motherly love. Manze there's a time to mourn.
Yes.
And it's okay to just bring those emotions, and just have time to just let go, be free and all that. And I know that there are some people who maybe they have a mom and don't have a dad. But what I'm saying is there is a motherly and fatherly love. So even in the family, kuna you can have an uncle who will bring about the fatherly love. You have
That's
an
true.
aunt who will bring about the
Yes.
so because raising a child is kuna kwa hiyo saying manze community ina raise mtoi.
Ni kweli.
So even as a mother being a single mom, you can you can have a father figure, maybe even the grandfather to the child, or maybe even a relative, uncle, a cousin, just a jamaa who can walk with your child, so that at the same time anapata both sides of the yes,
that's true. That's very good insights actually, and especially just even one more point, even as you add to some of these instances when you can really anger your child or exasperate them. At times you can nimesema
wendo
this is a common one. As in, nimesema so lazima ifanywe, and again from my experience, I think and we always say this is our view, we are this is a conversation starter. From my experience, women can easily, when relating with their children, are able to be more tolerant of some behaviors, and to try and understand inatoka wapi, kwa nini unafanya nini, and to find a way to resolve it without kufanya mtoto alie overwhelmed na vitu kama hizo. And majamaa, kwa sababu again because of that, most of what we saw even with our dads, there's a tendency also, nikisema inafaa kufanywa, isipofanywa hauniheshimu. You see that thing, we need to detach from that thing. It's not always about respect, or it's not always about I'm being disrespected, somebody is looking down upon me, I'm not wameniangalia, how can I be the head of the family if my children cannot listen to me. And now so you need to remember, the greater responsibility is, have you shown the example? Have you instructed? Have you trained? Remember, greater responsibility. And again, in the Lord, for believers, we are saying you need to remember, you're not creating your own kingdom in your family. Bring the children in instruction and training of the Lord. You're being reminded children are a gift from God, and as a parent you are a steward. So it's in the Lord. Instruction and training in the Lord. So that is a very crucial point. You're not building your own kingdom with your own rules, your own principles.
Unasema wazazi wamjue Mungu.
Jua Mungu. Watoto walitoka kwa Mungu. Wewe umeunda.
So even in that space, kulikuwa na kastori kadogo, acha nitaimention tu kiasi. I saw somewhere the kids were taken for a camp, and then at the end of the camp, the last day, the Perus wakaitwa. Then one of the boys, yeye ndo alikuwa anatoa story ya what happened. Alisema mbuyo wake alikam, and then they had to sleep in the same tent. It was a very small tent. And then the child, in his mind, alikuwa like, hatuwezi toshea hapa hivi na mbuyu, ama tunaweza toshea lakini tutafinyana sana. So the child aliamua kujipea shughuli for some part of the night, ndio babake at least alale. So when na hii story, mbuyu wake, he ended up knowing it when the child was giving the story. So then he said, I didn't even know about what he was saying, because so the dad was in the tent, alikuwa anashanga mbona mtu yeye akuji, so he stayed up.
Alikuwa na story yake pia.
So he stayed up waiting for the child. Then the child came in later on. Ako like, kumbe kwa hapa hujalala nini? Then they started talking. And the dad said that was the first time that they had a serious conversation between the two of them. Na mtu imanze ndio anaingia sasa high school and all that. And he said they talked about a lot, and he understood about a lot. And then he now understood how communication can help build the relationship.
Nice.
So now when the kid said what he said, the dad was like, okay, so that's the reason. Then ungeniambe, unaona? So manze,
break down assumptions.
So sometimes unaangalia mtu yuko like, huyu ajui. Unajua? Mimi lazima nimuonyeshe. So you jump into a lot of, when you're saying we react a lot. The parents react a lot. And so mimi hiyo story manze ilini bless. Kasema manze mimi nipata mtoi wangu, naweza penda to grow naye hivyo vile huo msee amefanya. And maybe even as we conclude for you, Robe, because
Nice.
mi bado niko nini single with nini with myself. Me, myself, and I.
Yeah.
In fact,
The children are yet to be sent from above.
I am yet to follow the book of Ephesians 6:4.
Yeah.
Sasa niko do 3. Mimi ni ule mzee tu wa kuona my parents.
Honor your father and mother.
Yeah, mimi nawaona tu.
Please.
Lakini bado hajafika kwa hiyo.
Honor your father and mother.
Sasa wewe mwenye 4 ina apply kwako. Nini umefanya? Maybe things that you're comfortable saying. Just maybe two examples of things that you've done and umetry to teach and direct them in the way of the Lord.
Well, that's a tough question. I think kuna the things that I've done correctly. First is to admit that there are things I've done wrong. And there are things I've learned. I've had to correct myself. I've had to and be corrected. Yeah. I have 2 children, and I'm married to one wife. Yeah, very supportive wife. Yeah, and my wife has been, she's very intelligent. Let me say that, and she's very present, very active, very focused on the growth of our family and even just the well-being. So she has been able to correct me a number of times. Yeah. And she knows this better than I do. But I can say that so there are instances where I reacted. The instances where I have been harsh. The instances where I made it a personal contest. Ni mimi nimesema. And I get upset because I told you didn't do it. Yeah. But through just that communication also between ourselves and to just understand what is the implication of such behavior, and I came to see some of these things. And what I do when the things I do right is that if I tell my child do something, thankfully my the eldest child, my daughter, asks why a lot of times, and I never pass that chance not to answer her. It's an opportunity, it's an invitation for me to train. So I instructed. She asked me why should I do this, and then I tell her this is why I should do this. And if she doesn't ask me and I see that she's not responding, I go and tell her when you're in this situation you need to do this because of this. If I am the older one, I have to treat her as if she would not understand immediately and she needs further guidance. I am the one who can see that. She's not the one who can see that. So and my boy is not the one who will see that. So I have to go deeper and see what do I need to download, what do I need even to correct and show, so that these children can pick up and the training can be easier, and eventually the honoring will be taught in itself. So one thing I do is that answer all the questions they ask, put myself in a point where I will be willing to explain, even though I think this is obvious. Until it becomes obvious, so that I can give them the perspective. And I have to explain to them why I need to discipline you, because I've told you this and this number of times. So if it's something I have not trained or shown them, I will try as much as possible to remind myself, why am I punishing this child, for what reason? And the result of it is I've seen my children grow to be stronger, more confident, more courageous, to speak even up to me, to correct me, to tell me, Daddy, you told me this, and now you're telling me this. And it's such a blessing for me to be there. So I would like all parents to experience the same thing, even future parents, to learn this early and prepare.
Tuna take notes. Nikisahau nda watch tu hii video tena. Na pia wewe pia watch, as in, that's just how it is. We are helping you. You're welcome. You're welcome. So I think to exhaust your topic, not siseme to exhaust completely, because there's a lot that we can talk about. If you think you have some suggestions about how to raise up children, how you've trained your children, just comment down below so that others can also learn from your experiences. And for those who also those who have grown up with their parents and maybe they've gone through some issues with their parents. Any opportunity for you to do better even for your kids. So, vile Robe amesema tuangalie nyuma kusema manze walikuwa wabaya nini, but wewe unaangalia mbele how you're going to make things better. So thanks guys for watching. Unaweza tufungia bro?
Mazee. Wase till next time after tumepiga story yote. Those are 2 cents
from 2 gents.